Retail shelves are being cleared in seconds as the global frenzy for labubu dolls reaches a fever pitch. Yet beneath the viral craze, a darker pattern is emerging. Entire countries have issued bans on the figures, while religious leaders are performing public exorcisms to drive out what they believe is a lingering evil. These extreme reactions suggest that these dolls aren't just toys, they are vessels. Paranormal investigators point to a sequence of events that mirrors the historical mechanics of a cursed object, where a demonic attachment takes hold through a series of predictable, lethal stages. We can track this exact progression through Meilin, a young woman who left her quiet, traditional village for the high-pressure life of Shanghai. She moved to the city to provide for her family, unknowingly trading her peaceful origins for a high-rise isolation that made her an ideal target. Meilin found work here, at a local toy shop. She was an avid collector, often using her employee discount to fill her home with new dolls. To an outside observer, it was a harmless hobby, but it established the very obsession the entity would eventually exploit. The process begins with an invitation. An entity requires a point of entry into the physical world. For Meilin, that exact moment came when she set aside a rare, golden labubu from a new shipment. It was a unique shade, but it was the doll's smile, wider and more aggressive than the others, that should have been her first warning. The first signs of an anomaly usually appear in animals. When Meilin brought the doll home, her dog, Bao, refused to go near it. He spent the evening growling at the shelf, his instincts sensing a predatory presence that Meilin's human eyes couldn't yet see. By dismissing Bao's aggression as simple nerves and locking him away, Meilin committed a critical error. She allowed the object to remain in her inner sanctum, giving the presence the proximity it needed to begin its work. Once a foothold is established, the entity shifts toward isolation. It systematically erodes the victim's psychological stability to ensure they are cut off from any external social support. The shift in Meilin was immediate. At work the next day, she flew into a sudden, uncharacteristic rage, screaming at a customer until her manager was forced to fire her. She returned home alone, jobless and completely vulnerable. With the victim isolated, the haunting transitions into physical manifestation. The entity moves beyond psychological pressure and begins to exert its will directly on the host, often choosing the defenseless state of sleep paralysis to strike. That night, Meilin's dreams were replaced by a recurring vision, a rotting, red-skinned figure with elongated claws emerging from the corners of her room, moving toward her with a slow, deliberate hunger. She jolted awake to find the golden labubu sitting directly on her chest, staring into her eyes. When she threw it aside, she realized her arms were covered in small, angry red welts, physical bite marks that hadn't been there when she went to sleep. The marks were proof that the entity was now drawing its energy directly from her. It had crossed the threshold from a mental shadow to a physical parasite. This escalation often leads to a desperate attempt at a solution, the illusion of destruction.
Victims mistakenly believe that by destroying the physical object, they are destroying the spirit attached to it. Meilin felt a wave of relief when she found Bao in her room, tearing the golden labubu to shreds. She gathered the plastic remains and threw into the trash, convinced the threat was neutralized. But the next morning, the symptoms returned with a newfound violence. Meilin woke with a splitting migraine and found that the bite marks had spread across her face, turning into festering open sores. Looking into her bathroom mirror, she saw the demonic figure standing over her shoulder. She spun around, gasping, but the room was empty, except for the labubu doll. It was back on its shelf, completely intact, its wide smile now twisted into a jagged, mocking sneer. She ran for the door, calling for her dog, but found him under the kitchen sink. Bao was dead, his body covered in deep lacerations. On the counter above him sat the doll, its hands and teeth stained a vivid, wet red. Attempting to destroy the vessel had only provoked the entity. It responded by accelerating its timeline, removing the only creature left that could have protected her. Meilin spent her final hours searching for an escape, finding that her experience was part of a much larger surge. Online forums were flooded with similar accounts of job loss, sudden illness, and inexplicable violence following the purchase of these specific dolls. A chilling theory has begun to link these modern hauntings to an ancient source. Many believe the labubu's design acts as a gateway for Pazuzu, a demon from Mesopotamian mythology. Historians describe Pazuzu as a bringer of famine and wasting diseases. He is a king of the wind demons, known for his relentless pursuit of those who accidentally invite him into their lives. If these toys are indeed being used as mass-produced vessels for such an entity, it would explain why the hauntings are so difficult to contain.
It reframes a viral trend as a delivery system for a very old and very patient evil. In a final act of desperation, Malin took the doll to the river. She burned it until it was nothing but gray ash, then scattered the remains into the water, watching the current carry them away. She called her sister that night, her voice finally calm. She told her she was safe, and that for the first time in weeks, the air in her apartment felt light again. Malin was found dead the following morning. Lying on the floor beside her was the golden labubu, perfectly pristine and showing no signs of ever having been touched by fire. This illustrates the final, most terrifying aspect of a cursed object. The entity will continue to manifest its chosen vessel until its work with the host is complete. Physical distance and destruction are mere delays. This leaves us with a difficult question. Are these collector's items truly being used as conduits for an ancient demonic king? Or are we witnessing a case of mass psychological hysteria fueled by the speed of the internet? Regardless of the cause, the fear surrounding these dolls is real. If you want to explore the origins of more urban legends and haunted objects, join us at HorrorCon in Delhi this October. It's the one place where we can face these stories together.